Howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
And you may now put on your 3D glasses because we are covering the 2009 slasher fun flick and our namesake, My Bloody Valentine. I wrote that one down so I could read it verbatim. That wasn't off the top of my head, no.
I wasn't going to call you out, but I was like, wow, he did that really good off the top of his head.
Mm-hmm, yeah, we'll just go with that. Yeah, 3D My Bloody Valentine. What year was this? This was 2009.
You just said it.
Did I? I don't know if that was real, though. I think I
It
just
is
wrote
real,
it down
yeah.
as a placeholder. Okay, 2009.
Because I looked it up.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. We were gonna watch the original and do this one, and then we just didn't do that because
We had a lot going on.
we do. We just had a conversation not even 5 minutes ago about being organized and prepared gays.
And Zachary was like, yes, you sent me 20 Google Calendar invites the other night, and I did.
He really did. I checked my email, and I thought I was going to get like one with a couple of them in there or something. I don't know how Google Calendar invites work, but yep, there's like 20 for me, and like,
Well, now we're on the same page. We know exactly what everything is. It's what helped me with Slayerfest was like doing a bazillion calendar invites.
Yeah. What'd you think? Initial thoughts, My Bloody Valentine.
Well, I mean, it was our Valentine's Day special. It was a cute Valentine's Day horror movie that barely had anything to do with Valentine's Day.
Yes. We had a couple heart-shaped boxes in there. A couple pieces of chocolate. Yeah, I like it. I remember seeing this in the theater when it came out, and that was around the time where like a bunch of different movies were doing 3D. The 3D was like a cool comeback gimmick right now, and this movie was one of the ones that did it really well. It's super cheesy like effects and like the pickaxe coming at the screen, but like at the theater, it was so much fun. It was a lot of fun to be there.
Well, and to the movie's credit, while some of it is like, oh, this is very clearly setting up for 3D, I don't think it's like too distracting watching it now, not 3D.
I don't think so. I don't know. I think it was well made. It was a well made movie, even if the plot kind of like does slow a little bit in the middle. It's still got pretty solid edges. And the opening is great 3D goodness that kind of just puts you in the story right away. We don't have much gooey.
I would say they needed to cut the hospital scene because I was expecting the nurse who like he appears behind. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a cool first death scene, but like we just cut away, and then see a bunch of dead bodies. I didn't care about that. We didn't need to see that.
Well, yeah, and the opening is like a bunch of like newspaper headlines in 3D, kind of explaining that there was an explosion at the mine, and then a bunch of miners were trapped, and Harry Warden killed his fellow miners to like conserve oxygen, and then he ended up in a coma, but it was like a prelude to a scene that is a prelude.
Yes, it was like one too many.
It just like, we could have cut that and maybe just had Harry Warden be, a guy who just snapped and decided to go and kill a bunch of teens, because then we wake up, we come in a year later and Harry Warden wakes up, like you said, and he kills that nurse. We don't even see him do it. And then we are at teens at a mine party. Love that. We've got Axel and Irene, who are the bad girl and the bad boy in school, and all these people are even. They look even older than the normal 26-year-old that plays a teenager.
They do. They like don't remotely look like teenagers.
No way. I think Axel is the guy from Supernatural's in this too. What's his name?
Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, I think the guy who plays Axel is so much hotter though.
I mean, I think for me, they're both equally handsome. Like, all right.
Okay. They could have ended up together, I guess, right?
I would not have said that.
So enter Supernatural and our final girl. The Supernatural guy's name is Tom, and he's pretty much blamed in town for the mine explosion the previous year because I guess it was his responsibility as a teenager to vent the methane lines that caused the collapse. I got that from Wikipedia. I don't remember hearing that in the beginning.
I was about to say, Zach, I completely.
And I was on the Wikipedia. I got it.
Are you cheater?
But he's also the son of the mine's owner, which we'll play in a little bit later. And then his girlfriend Sarah, you can tell she's the final girl because she's got the nerdy final girl outfit on, and she's got I said while we were watching, I said she's got a really big heart. It's got a really big heart for the male gaze. The male gaze is, that
sound
outfit.
Effect.
That outfit. I don't even know. Like, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, What costume designer said, let's make her a nerd, but her shirt's got to be see-through, and we've got to see her big tits and a really black bra.
It's just really weird, right? It's like a weird choice.
Yeah. I just like put her like even her final girl outfit at the end of the movie. Put her in something like that, you know. I don't know. It's a weird choice.
But also, so a lot happens while like nothing happens for the first like 4 or 5 minutes, but then like they arrive at that mine and like murders immediately start. Like I don't even recall how Jamie King Sarah gets separated, but she's like. They walk in and suddenly she's walking by herself and like the first person she sees is murdered. And then like 10 other people.
Yeah, I don't remember. And it's weird that they're partying at a mine anyway. That like just, I mean, I guess that's what teenagers do, party at haunted houses. So,
I mean, we grew up in the suburbs.
I'm trying to think of it and like, I don't even know how everybody ends up in this situation.
But right, like we grew up in the suburbs in like shitty suburbs where there's not a lot going on. That's like kind of shit you do.
I guess we used to sit in parking lots. Everybody would like line their trucks up in that circle, and we would just.
God, that sounds like a hate crime.
That's just all we did. We just sit out there all night.
So we would go to like abandoned. There was a couple abandoned institutions we went to. That was like me and my friends. That was our thing because there were a lot in New Jersey, or there were. And we would like park in the woods and then go like creep around them and get scared.
Yeah, we had one of those at Alabama called Bryce Hall, and it was old and haunted, and it was fucking creepy, man. Even the children's ward, that's where we used to go. We used to go hang out in the children's ward. But yeah, so we've got our 4 like main teens going through this mine, being hunted down, and they're seeing all these like dead bodies of these other teens everywhere, and they're being chased by Harry Warden in his mining costume, and he starts picking everybody off. 3 of them get away. Sarah, Axel, and Irene. They just like straight up leave Tom there.
They really do. Half of me is like, I would be pissed too.
Yeah. Slight bit understandable, right? So Tom, he almost gets killed by the miner, but then Sheriff Tom Atkins shows up. Tom Atkins, who played the main guy in Halloween 3. Amazing. Loved it.
That's weird because remember I asked you, I was like, were these guys in like the original My Bloody Valentine? Because it felt like it was like these old dudes gotta be like a reference.
They were in Halloween 3. I don't know if they were meant to reference anything, but they, I see, that's why we should have watched the original. Dropping the ball. Tom Atkins shoots Harry, and then there's supposedly a mine collapse, and then we pick up 10 years later in this town of Harmony. Yeah, it's 10 years later. The story is that Harry was killed when the mine collapsed and he was buried alive. So Axel, sexy Axel, is now the sheriff. He's married to Sarah, which is a weird pairing, but it does make sense because these, people from small towns who don't leave, they just all end up with each other anyway. It's very soap opera.
Yeah. So many of my friends that like maybe weren't dating or even friends in high school are now married to each other.
The options get slim. You got to.
You should look at my scruff when I'm in the suburbs.
I've never been on scruff. Never went on.
It's bleak.
It's okay. So Axel though has been having an affair with Sarah's grocery store co-worker Megan, and they've been shacking up in this old abandoned house and. I don't know. I mean,
well, the old abandoned house is his father. We learn it's his father's.
Yes, it's his father's
house, which is weird because it's like 10 years ago isn't that long ago where there's like a house with no driveway and no sidewalk and like nothing.
It's like that's a house that's easily been out there for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Being overgrown by that forest. But
not 10.
It just reminds me of all the sketchy places I used to go hook up.
Go hook up.
Yeah, you do it where you can sometimes.
Please don't get
murdered. Tom shows up back in Harmony though, and he's selling the mine, and he's getting some pushback from the town. Everybody's like, this mine keeps this town going, and you haven't been here. So that's where we're.
And we learned that he hadn't like even spoken to his dad.
Yeah, his dad.
It's very like there's a lot of like. The movie didn't need it, but there's a lot of background plot. Like, we don't ever see his dad, but we talk about his dad a whole lot.
I know. You could have easily cut out the background plot and some of the melodrama and had a pretty fast-moving horror film. Like an hour and 20 minutes, I think would have been perfect for this. I think it sits at like an hour and 40. You know, cut out 20 minutes and pretty good movie. Tom checks into this seedy little motel. I think it's pretty nicely decorated, honestly. It's kind of aesthetic. But in that same motel, we've got Irene from the beginning of the movie, and she's this cross of who did we say? Amy Smart, Reese Witherspoon, and Tara Reid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Irene's hooking up with her boyfriend, I guess. I don't know. He's like a married dude.
I assumed he was just like, you know,
he's
when
like
you're
this married
single.
trucker that she's like super into him, and she's like thinking about like, you know, they're doing it on Valentine's Day and like.
Well, I thought he was like, because he's a trucker, so like he comes in and out of town, and he's like a regular hookup. Like when he's in town, they hook up is what I took it as.
I could see that. Yeah, I mean it's pretty graphic sex scene, honestly. She's like full frontal, you know. You see everything. There's not a part of her you don't see. You see his ass. Who is this? You said
He's
who was
the
this?
Screenwriter.
Screenwriter. There you go. Yeah, you see his ass in this. Dude, you should.
Kind of looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He does, doesn't he? Like a muscled down version, maybe. But yeah, he does. But we didn't even get a nut from him. Just some ass cheeks.
Even a nut, like just one. I want to see one ball.
I'm all good for full frontal, but we gotta, I want to see the dude too.
But I do feel like if I wrote a horror movie, I would want to write myself in as one of the kills.
I'd probably do that. Yeah. But no,
I don't know that I'd write myself in having sex with like someone hot, but like maybe. But like
and
also,
is hot. She is hot.
is.
I think her body was like banging in this scene. I
Good
do feel
for her.
bad for her because she goes on the. Okay, so basically, Frank has been recording his little trysts with. Is it trysts? Trysts.
What are words?
Is it Trisket?
Are you drunk? Like what?
I feel like it. No, I'm just sick with the COVID, probably.
Oh God, don't say that.
I don't feel sick. But Frank has been recording these little hookups with Irene, and Irene finds out about it. She gets pissed, and she follows him out into the parking lot. Doesn't even put on any clothes, just her heels.
Grabs her gun.
Grabs her gun in her heels and follows him out into the parking lot.
And they're chunky heels too. Makes it worse.
That's all he even commented on during this scene. It's her chunky heels.
Oh, they're just so bad.
But, you know, he was recording them without her consent. Yeah, Irene, take that gun out there. Y'all are in the Appalachian Mountains. Take it out there, shoot his ass. She goes out there, though, and the killer gets Frank before she can. And then
right in the top of his
right
head.
in the head, you know, full on 3D shot. And then he chases Irene around the motel. And this poor girl... I was thinking we were talking about how many days it must have been to like film this scene. Must have been at least like 3 days, maybe 2.
Because it's a long scene.
It's a long scene, and she's full frontal on the entire thing, only heels on, I guess. What did you say about the towel? Something?
Oh, because so I read the IMDb trivia, and because I did notice when she grabs the gun, she grabs a sheet, like she picks it up. But apparently they filmed so many different takes that in one of them she was holding a sheet around herself, and she said it just like didn't work. So it was her idea to just like forget the sheet and just have her be butt-ass naked.
I got you.
Which I appreciate it more that it was like her decision because she felt clunky with the sheet. Like I feel like, well, good for you. If that's what you wanted, no one like was like, we need you to be naked for this new horror movie. Like, all right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like in that moment in the story, like you wouldn't be grabbing a sheet anyway. I don't.
The only problem is though, you wouldn't be putting on those chunky heels either.
They were like that writer was like, what would I do as a woman? You got to put your shoes on. But like while she's arguing with Frank in the motel before they go outside, she could have thrown on something first anyway.
Because also like if you're going to chase someone that you need to catch up to, I don't imagine you would put on chunky heels.
Pretty much, but
but it's a good chase scene.
It is. I like the chase scene. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I think it's like actually really like good. I think this movie, while not the best, it did a good chase scene. It like gives us some good ones. I think this one is probably the best one. I almost wish this were later in the movie. But well, I like it because it's like it's a chase scene where like this is the kind of chase scene I like, where like people are still being murdered. It's not just like a direct like he's following her and she's slip sliding around, it's like she actually like hides and kind of gets away, and then other people are murdered and then she gets killed.
Yeah.
And I appreciated at least she like wasn't totally useless. Like she still like hid and used the bed frame as like a.
I thought she
to
was
block
she
him.
was smart enough in the situation. I mean, because you think about, I think about like what I would do in that situation, and really like, there's not anything else she really could have done.
Right.
She did all she could in that moment, but
Because either you hide in the closet or under the bed. Both are places he's gonna look. So like,
yeah, I think it would have been cool a little bit later down. I liked her. I liked her as an actress, and I liked her as a.
because then we get the hotel man. She hides in the hotel manager's like bedroom, and that's where it's like her only options are the closet or the bedroom. And the hotel manager is this like cute lady. She's like looking for her dog and gets fucking pickaxe to her head.
Her like last words are like, "Are you hiding from Mama?" And she opens the closet door. I'm like, "No."
That's when Zach said, "This is me in my boots looking for the dogs in the house."
No, it's me all damn day. Just looking for my fucking dogs. Here's somebody chewing something they're not supposed to.
Yeah, because Squid. Yeah, because I grew up with a pug, and Zach already knows this, but I grew up with a pug, and squishy-faced dogs make a lot of noise when they're chewing on something, so you can hear it, but sometimes you can't find them.
Yeah. So Irene's are pretty much our first big kill in this movie.
Yeah,
And
because the rest were like nameless characters.
Yeah. I think one thing we can agree on that we kind of talked about while we were watching it is that, the 2000s horror movies, while they weren't the best story-wise, they could do a chase scene. They could do the characters were good. It was,
Yeah.
they're fun movies to watch. So the next
This
morning,
is something I feel like if you and I like actually hung out in person, that's like something if we were hanging out we could put on in the background, right?
I think so. Yeah. It's you put it on and we just talk through it or something like that.
Yeah.
Just, pause for the really good scenes. But the next morning, cops are all over the scene, and news spreads through the town. Tom and Sarah finally come face to face again after 10 years, at the grocery store while she's the cashier. I don't care. Axel's hotter. You have the hotter husband, Sarah.
Okay, but the hotter husband is like is cheating on her.
Yes, okay. I will tell you something. I'm going to be a very problematic white gay in this one because Axel can do whatever he wants to me. He can cheat on me. He can treat me like shit. Axel is hot enough to do it. I need to look him up and see how he's aged.
He's a silver fox now. He's like
Is
handsome.
he?
He's all
I
gray,
believe
yeah.
it. He's got them wolf eyes.
He does have wolf eyes. That's really accurate.
I love it.
I mean, I think he's handsome, but I think him and Jensen Ackles both are like same level of handsome for me.
Yeah.
Where it's
Do you
like,
know who Six Holdover is? He's like on Instagram. He's an Instagram gay. Yeah, he looks like him if you ever looked at him.
Zach's giving people promo. I'm going to let Alistair know.
Go subscribe to his OnlyFans. So it's kind of weird though. Like Sarah still carries this flame for Tom, and she keeps like a little photo of herself and Tom like in this box on her dresser.
Boy, I bet she felt stupid after the end of this movie.
It's fucking, oh my gosh. Ugh. All she had to do was leave town.
Just also, isn't that weird to think like, you literally hadn't heard from this man in 10 years. You dated him as a teenager, and you're still like, you had a child with this other guy, and you're still like hung up on a teenage boyfriend.
And it's weird because it happens about the same time that Axel calls Sarah and tells her that Irene's been murdered, and she shows no emotion. Nothing. There was nothing there. Axel had more emotion finding out that Irene was dead than Sarah did. Sarah's like, she was a slut. She wanted my husband. I got into some Facebook fights with her.
She wanted my husband that I don't even want. So
Axel gets an anonymous like Valentine's Day package, and it is Irene's heart because it's my bloody what?
I almost said Judy again. Damn it! Valentine.
It's my bloody Valentine, Ian. My bloody Valentine. And now the hunt is on to find out who the miner is. So everybody in town pretty much hates Tom at this point. So Tom coming back, he's not coming back to open arms. He's wanting to sell the mine, but also everybody thinks that Harry Warden is now back killing people, and it's his fault. I don't know.
Also, important information, we find out Megan is pregnant because LOL, sure, why not?
Oh, she is, yeah. Axel's little mistress is pregnant.
Because he buys her a box of chocolates that they leave in his father's house where they have sex. And he says, I didn't get you anything. And she says, yes, you did. I'm pregnant.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Which feels like a parody of like a joke. Like,
I mean, I got pregnant in your dad's old house. Romantic? Is that sentimental?
so we don't hear Jensen Ackles fully speak until he talks to that hotel manager who was murdered during that chase scene. And I need to point out that Jensen Ackles must have subscribed to the Adventures of ZMB YouTube channel, because it's like he's doing like a parody of your voice, Zach.
My voice is already a parody of something out there. It has to be. So I don't... Wait, am I a parody of him? Is that what's happening here?
You both watch the same porno where that's how the straight guy talks, and that's what you do.
Oh my goodness. And I'll never be able to remember his name, so we're going to call him Supernatural.
But like literally when he talked, I was like, it feels like he's doing like a softer.
Oh my gosh, he's trying really hard in this role. He took this role so seriously. And this is one of these things that I love about this movie, is that it knows what kind of movie it is. It's not trying to be anything more serious than it is. Not trying to be any deeper, but he took this role. He was going to get an Oscar with this role. He was going for it.
Well, I think the other Supernatural dude got more roles than he did, I think.
Probably. The other guy was in like the Friday the 13th remake too.
And House of Wax.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. They were both in those. Okay. Interesting. Well, he went for it here. He's like,
I mean, I'm surprised those guys, because like, I mean, Supernatural, what? It just ended and it was like season 39. Like, I'm surprised they weren't in more shit, although I guess they don't need to be.
I didn't even fucking know it was still going until they announced the final season. I gotta be honest, never watched it past the first season.
Yeah, I only watched season 1 as well. I always meant to go back and try, because I hear it gets like funnier. Yeah. And I'm sure like 5 people will comment saying we should.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
So Jensen Ackles, Tom goes to the bar, gets into a fight with the old men. That one grandpa tries to throw a punch and it like barely looks like it's aimed at him.
Don't do that to him. He's a 90-year-old body. He threw all of his force behind that one. He tried. He tried his hardest.
I feel like if his fist had connected, he would have just turned to dust.
Like, you liberal little shit. Oh, goodness. But then we get this like little Lifetime movie of the week scene between Sarah and Tom. That's another thing that we could have just cut out. It's a mix between...
Yeah, we could have cut out all that shit.
It's just a mix between, you don't need to sell the mine. That's what the town needs. The town needs this mine. And then it's also, you ran away. You ran away from you. You ran away from us. And then we move on. And Tom goes down into the mine, and he gets locked in a cage by the miner, and the miner kills a mine worker in front of him. And
wait.
Are we
so
going? Okay.
The miner pushes him in whatever that fucking cage is, and like makes it so he can't get out. Then there's that very obvious scene of they both like mirror each other, like what they're doing.
That's my very next note. Exactly. Yeah.
I will say it made me jump. This movie, like a few times, made me just like jump a little. Yeah. But sometimes I jump easier because when I'm in my room, I'm sitting so close to my TV. It did make me jump a little. But then immediately I said to you, like, did we just watch 2 movies in a row where the main character is the killer?
I really do appreciate that the movie like kind of tries to act like Tom ain't the killer, but then it's also like, oh, he's totally the killer. LOL. Like, you already know he's
by
the
end. I was like positive it was him, and then by the end I was like, maybe it is her husband, but then it was him. So
yeah. Also,
I feel like I'm like, oh no, I spoiled the movie, as if people are watching it right now.
While we were watching it, we were about halfway through, and I was like, we should have just recorded a commentary track of us watching along with it. And told people to like start at 1-1 or 0-0-1 or something. That'd been cool.
So then a guy that he gets into a fight with at the bar gets murdered. That guy puts up maybe the best fight against the killer of anyone in the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Which makes sense because we did see that at the bar, at least, that they were kind of even matched. Even though it doesn't make sense that he's that much stronger than everyone else. But whatever. Miners come down, they release him from the cage, they find the murdered dude. Everyone's immediately like, it's gotta be Tom.
Yeah, and he's like, what? What? Me?
Tom's like wiping blood off himself. Like, how could it be me?
I was in the cage.
So then they get to the hospital where your boyfriend Axel reveals that, because Tom is like, oh, it's gotta be him. And he's like, actually, they fucking murdered him 10 years ago, dickhead. Let's go look at the bones. So he takes the whole Scooby gang to go look at the burial site.
Lord Jesus. So we've got two performances here, two noteworthy performances, I say. We got Axel, who fucking knows who the damn killer is from the beginning of the movie and is telling us. And he's like, hey, I know who the killer is. Listen to me.
He's right.
Come on,
He's
y'all.
right.
and then we have Supernatural. He's just like, I'm not the killer. What?
Mouth full of like a human heart, like
a really serious face. You guys got to picture his Supernatural, really serious face. I couldn't be the killer. It's not me. I just have to get out of here.
Yeah. There's like something to be said for the fact that he is right, and there's never like a point when he's like, maybe it's not him. Like that.
He doesn't
that man,
waver, and nobody listens to him.
The old people do, but they all die.
My baby Axel.
And I will say there is something to be said for, I appreciate that Axel is still also the asshole. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there were a lot of 80s horror movies like this where like the main guy is like just kind of a dick. Yeah. And I kind of like that idea of like the man she kind of wants to leave, her like husband who's shitty and that has been cheating on her. She's like still enamored by this other man who's actually the killer. Like I like the idea of the like pretty boy that she's enamored with is the killer and her like shitty fucking husband is actually the hero.
Well, yeah, and like no, and the movie not at any point it doesn't at any point try to make Axel like this sympathetic guy. Really, right. It doesn't. They're like he cheats on his wife, he got her pregnant, like woman ended up dead, and he didn't really do anything about it, you know.
He sure didn't.
Then we have this really weird scene, though. Like, another thing that should have been cut out is Tom, like, searching the woods, and he finds Axel's cabin.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, he goes inside, and, like, it's, like, this weird red herring.
Yeah, I mean, that was the only point, like, that with the end. I was like, oh, well, he did go to that house. And I was like, but he did see the card there. So that's, like, he fucking wrote in blood because he saw it. That was, like, the only point towards the end where I was like, well, maybe it could be the shitty husband. And I did read.
More surprised by that, do you think?
I would have. I definitely would have been, but Tom was such a boring character that, like, sure, make him the murderer.
Yeah, he got to do something. He's been using all his acting chops for this role. Give him some meat.
Listen, these Supernatural fans are gonna be pissed at you. I didn't say anything bad about him.
No, maybe I should stop. I do really like these guys, by the way. I love both of the Supernatural guys. Just, you know, one guy's named the Supernatural guy, and the other one's Jared Padalecki. Across town, the old man miner manager guy, I don't know his name.
Is he the mayor?
Is he the mayor?
I put literally, I was like the old guy, and then I put in parentheses in my notes, the mayor ? I couldn't
who is this guy? I don't know. I thought he worked at the mine. Anyway, he pretty much gets it from the miner. And the miner puts his body in Harry Warden's grave that was, turned up empty a little bit earlier. So,
which is even more obvious that it's
and
Tom.
Now Axel's saying again, "Hey, I think the miner is somebody who was at that grave with us, and you know who was at the grave with us? Tom."
He's like, it's sure not my wife, so it's gotta be this dude.
Fucking Tom, man, And then we go into like probably the best chase scene of the movie at the grocery store. We have Sarah and Axel's mistress Megan. They're closing up the store together, and they're kind of talking, but I don't remember. They didn't ever acknowledge the affair, did they?
No, she doesn't acknowledge it till the end.
Yeah, and then the miner comes in and attacks them, and it's such a great chase scene.
It is a good chase scene.
It played like Scream 3, Gale Weathers, and Parker Posey, with Parker Posey like following behind and holding her hand, and like it was really good. And these girls, they fought. They really did,
That's another thing I liked, that Megan, because I thought they were going to do a thing where it's like, oh, look, Megan's like, I'm having an affair, so I'm going to leave you. But I like that Megan helps her. Like, Megan is one that hits him with the mop to save her. And I definitely was like, oops, she's getting pickaxed to the head. But then she didn't. They still made it to the manager's office, and then...
They did. It's just like, I do really appreciate a chase scene like that where there's kind of a little bit... I always appreciate a scene where there's girl power. So they did have girl power. And even like, we find out a little bit later that Sarah knew about the affair between Axel and Megan. And she even still like was protecting Megan, very maternal and motherly towards Megan. And they end up in the manager's office, and they're like barricading the door, and he's coming through the door, and there's this slightly comedic scene with I was about to say Parker Posey, but Megan trying to open the window and looking for the keys, and she finally gets
God, I'd be the Megan, wouldn't I?
You know what? I thought it too. I was like, because she says at one point while she's looking for it, and Sarah's yelling at her, "Find the keys." She says, "Don't yell at me," and I'm like, Ian, fucking Carlos Crawford.
Damn right, don't yell at me. I'm very sensitive.
Ian told me he was going to be in a mood for this episode, but I thought you've been in a really good mood today. So.
Oh, and I'll tell you the same thing I told you. It's just seeing your face, Zachary.
Oh, everybody says that to me.
Fuck you.
So Megan finally gets the window up, and she starts to go out, and then everything goes pretty quiet, and Sarah recognizes this instantly, realizes that something's wrong, that this killer is probably outside the window, and of course Megan gets drug out the window and murdered. Which, sucks, but...
I always think that, like, if I were the actor who played Megan, I'd be like, oh man, I don't get a cool death scene. I get, like, an off-camera death.
I know.
Like, I'd want, like, to act with, like, an axe in my chest or some shit.
I know. I'd probably be like, do you want me to take my clothes off? Give me a chunky heel?
That really would be the difference between us.
But like, there's a really long alleyway. I could run pretty fast. But Megan dies off screen. Sarah goes out,
and then Sarah hits the alarm after, which I didn't understand.
Oh, that was so weird, wasn't it? It was like, why not just like real quick? But whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Panic.
It doesn't even matter anyway.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. We're thinking too far into this movie. Sarah leaves the grocery store and runs into Axel immediately, and they go out to the alley and find Megan's body. And at that point, like when the ambulance shows up and everything, Sarah pretty much acknowledges that she knows Axel and Megan were having an affair, and she suspects that the killer is going after everybody Axel cares about, right?
Yeah. Which is, like, kind of the only moment of, like, a character putting... Like, Axel's just kind of like, it's gotta be him, even though he's right, but she's kind of, like, putting pieces together.
And, a credit to this movie. It kind of plays a little weird and a little, like, awkward when you have these really dramatic scenes between Sarah and Tom, but when you have the scenes between Sarah and Axel... I think they're done pretty well, and I think those two actors have pretty good chemistry where it doesn't come off melodramatic. It's just kind of like they're kind of tired of each other, and you kind of see it, but they still love each other.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate their scenes together.
Just like us, Zach.
Exactly. Let's speed up to our finale, shall we? Let's kind of do a run through here because.
All right, so I want to point out in my notes in all caps, I have. Zach calls me out for being on the phone, but he was looking at his phone through half of this ending.
Sorry, I was on eBay.
I don't actually care. It's just you always call me out on it, so I needed to call you out on it. The last remaining old man goes up to the lady who's the cop that's watching over their house.
Yeah.
And he's like, the killer's here, which, how the fuck did he know the killer was there? There's like nothing. So they go in the house, the old man gets murdered. She finds the maid in the dryer with her skin melting off. Also finds the child who is fine. Apparently he had been hiding, I guess.
Yeah.
I could have done with like a cool chase scene with the kid. I feel like that could have...
I'm okay without it, though. I didn't really care about the kid. I kind of forgot about the kid most of the time anyway. I don't think there was ever a scene with the kid and his parents.
I think, yeah, when she dismisses the maid, that's it. She tells the maid they're good, and that's the only scene she's in with her son.
There you go.
But so the old dude, who's the last remaining old guy, gets murdered on the porch. He gets his jaw ripped off.
And to that I say, you can't kill Tom Atkins, motherfuckers. It's Tom motherfucking Atkins.
I don't even know what you're referencing.
It's Tom Atkins. He's a very amazing actor who's very underrated. Watch Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
All right. And so then she's in the hospital. She gets a call. Sarah's in the hospital, gets a call from Tom. He's like, do you trust me? She's like, yeah. And he's like, well, do you trust me? Because I'm going to come get you. And she goes in the car with him, which is a terrible idea. He already seems more unhinged. And while she's in the car, she gets a call from Axel, who's telling her, Tom is the killer. Get out of the car.
I thought this scene was really good, too. I liked this one. Because it was a good tension-building moment, too. Like, we know he's fucking crazy. And she's like, and now he's speeding down the road, and she's like, for a second, I thought she was just going to jump out of the car.
I mean, I was thinking that. I was like, I would be the idiot who gets in the car with the killer. And Zach and Alistair are texting me like, did you just get in the car with the killer? And I'm like, no, he said I was cute, so I got in the car with him.
Where's he driving you right now? Some road going through the forest.
He jokingly said he was going to take me to murder me, but like he was joking. It's fine. But in my head, I was like, I think I would jump out of the car, but I would absolutely break an arm or a leg jumping out of a car.
Yeah, Axel pretty much like he reveals that Tom had been in like a mental institution.
Yes.
Which I think at the time was the big trope of like, you crazy.
I was going to say, that was always the go-to of like,
you're the crazy.
Aha!
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So she's instantly like, she's creeped out by then. Yeah, she's ready to bail.
Because that's when she grabs the steering wheel.
I do love Sarah. I love her for all the risks she's willing to take just to get out of these situations. She crashes the car and she's gone through the woods she's hiding in the abandoned house.
That 3D scene did make me jump when the branch came all the way through. I don't know why it made me jump, but it did.
She's hiding in the abandoned house in Axel's father's old house, and she
finds a million,
like a million heart-shaped boxes and the picture of Sarah and Tom from earlier, and then she starts to think that it's Axel, that the killer is Axel, and then the killer shows up, chases her through the house, through the woods, and we end up back in the mine for our big finale showdown.
The house could have been cut completely from the movie.
I loved it as a set, though. Like, I wish maybe they should have moved some stuff around to put it. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I always like an abandoned house,
Yeah, no, I mean, but you know what I mean? Like, it didn't, because she's there for only
really
like
fit.
2 minutes and leaves.
Yeah. So,
and then, we're back at the mine, because of course we are.
It's mine bloody Valentine.
Zach, I was just trying to think of a stupid fucking pun to do.
I either got mine bloody Valentine or my bloody Valentine, but I like the first one. I think the first one works.
I don't know that either of them work.
Be mine. Oh, we're getting there. We'll come up with it by the end.
Will we?
No, Sarah gets a hold of Axel's gun when she runs into Axel. And she basically just holds the gun on Tom and Axel both. And they're both trying to convince her that the other one is the miner.
It's a very silly moment.
And Axel's been doing it the whole movie. And finally, he says the most perfect thing that we're all thinking. He's like, Axel just says, well, shoot us both. Do it. And Tom's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, let's all hold on.
Don't shoot me, because I'm not anybody. The killer.
Like, calm down, guys. Calm down. We can talk about this rationally.
And like, realistically, she should have shot them both in like
she
the
should have.
right?
I mean, they're both just shitty guys. Axel's the cuter one of the two. But Tom is a horrible liar. So basically, he's the miner, and the twist is that he has these hallucinations of the miner.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do we think it was it just supposed to be like, he like, his mind like went like melty after the encounter, and this like his PTSD? Because Axel said something weird like, is that him inside of you? And he like smiles about it, and I was like, is this supposed to be like a mystical transference? Because then we get that weird montage that we didn't need, because like we get it, of like him taking the mask off after like every fucking kill he did in the movie. And we see him like holding the pickaxe from the grave and like looking at it, and like music plays. So I didn't know if it was supposed to be like...
I don't think it's mystical. I think it's just supposed to be that Harry Warden is dead and gone, and that he's just pretending that he's Harry Warden, but also we don't see Harry Warden's body, and I thought maybe that would pop up at some point in the movie, like maybe he like pulled his body out and like carries it around with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that could have been explained a little bit better. But
I mean, it doesn't really matter either way.
I don't know, but I mean, basically earlier in that mirrored shot, that tells you everything you need to know about what's going on here.
So she doesn't shoot anyone. Tom and Axel have a pickaxe fight.
They do. It's basically the whole movie has been leading up to a dick battle between these two guys. A sword fight, if you will.
I think you and I can agree that we would both watch that sword fight.
I would. It should have been done in the buff.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah. Axel does get stabbed. I just put it down to, the other guy's a little bit taller. It's okay. A little bit more of an arm reach. But he still gets to hold the gun while he's like limping around. We don't just give it to Sarah, maybe?
Right. Like at that point, like she already showed that she wasn't a good shot, and like maybe just let her I don't know. Well, cause she didn't shoot, but then she gives it to him. I don't know. They were like, they should have just shot him. So she tries to shoot him. She misses. He runs away. He comes back very soon after that.
Where did he run to? What was the point of that?
He immediately comes back.
Away? He had more of a chance to get them while she was on the floor with him.
Yes, that's okay. Pickaxe them both, and then you're in the clear. You're all good.
Yeah, the bullet. She ends up shooting him. There's a really really cool shot. We'll give the movie a little bit more credit here. There's a really cool shot as Tom is coming towards them, where he's like with his pickaxe, knocking out the lights, each one as he gets closer to them, and every time the light goes out, it's like a flash of the miner's mask. I thought that was really cool, but she ends up shooting him, and it's this really cool 3D shot of it's like as 3D as you can get of the bullet.
It's
like,
very of the
through.
time.
Yeah. And he goes down, and then Axel is taken care of by the ambulance. What?
It's because she hits the tank and it blows up.
Oh, it does blow.
And as soon I thought either we were gonna get a very cool his body explodes in 3D and his arms are flying at the screen, or he was gonna survive. So I knew when we didn't see his body blow to pieces that all right, well, he's gonna survive.
You always know. That's never gonna change. You either see him blow up, head chopped off.
Well, but that would have been a cool 3D silly thing if his arms and legs are flying.
But instead they were like, well, Supernatural guy's doing a really good job with this role. Maybe we should do a sequel.
You are being so hard on him.
I really do like him. Supernatural guy, I really do like you. I just think I think they told you this movie was a psychological thriller.
He played it as Gone Girl.
Oh, he didn't know what he was going into. Axel and Sarah basically exchange I love yous as, Axel's being taken out of the mine and put into an ambulance, and I have it in my notes. They need to get out of that town and just move to Florida. If they're going to save their marriage, go somewhere else. And then the very last shot is Tom is still alive. What? Oh my gosh, who expected that?
But okay, wait, before that, which is weird, we get that kicker that he's alive twice, which I don't understand why we got it twice. Literally immediately after the explosion, before we even see them in the ambulance, there's a miner going and they're like, we found someone, which they would have said what happened, and if there was someone in there, you would have known he was the killer. It's just weird to give us that and then tie up the characters and then once again show us that he got out, because we already knew he got out.
I think the moment would have paid off a lot better at the end if they'd gone balls to the wall and given us some crazy screamo music or something. I feel like screamo music is in his head constantly 24/7. So
anyway,
that's the end of the movie though, y'all. It's a really fun movie to watch in 3D. I don't know if they have a copy out there that comes with any sort of 3D technology anymore.
I mean, how the fuck does that work? Because if I don't imagine they give you many pairs of 3D glasses, and if you lose one, then it's you can't watch the movie, right?
I don't know. So I don't know. They did. I remember Shark. Or no, never mind. I'm not even gonna go into that. Whatever. It was a fun movie.
Don't tell me about when you were a child and I was in college.
Do you remember
watching fucking Shark Boy and Lava
3D? Yeah, good fun movie though. My Bloody Valentine. I am curious to watch the original, but we'll wait a little bit for that one.
Hey Zach.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. It is. We're putting this episode out on Valentine's Day, everybody.
What's your favorite scene?
The whole grocery store chase scene is mine. I'm all about it. What about you?
Mine is the naked chase scene. I just think it's like really good, but the supermarket chase scene would be a close second.
You know, My Bloody Valentine too. All women. They carried this movie, and Axel. Axel can be in it. Hashtag believe Axel.
I hate you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Check it out. Our next one will be out next Wednesday. People Under the Stairs we're going to be covering. So, yeah. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.